Welcome to Season 3 of the Languages Pedagogy Podcast, where language learning meets innovation, culture, and pedagogy. I'm Mike, your host, and together we'll explore groundbreaking strategies, challenge traditional methods, and empower educators and learners alike. My wonderful listeners, welcome back to episode 92. And this time, this is another type of episode. This is a great episode, and I'm really happy actually to share it with you all. This episode is important to me because I'm actually having a really good conversation with one of the greatest teachers to me, a teacher that really is one of those ones that really make you want to be even better, not just for you, but for the class, for your students. So I'm talking about Vicky Saumell, a wonderful educator, wonderful teacher, always ahead in the game, always open to teach and learn. This is her. She's an amazing educator, so I really hope you enjoy this conversation. She's actually sharing a lot of good things here. And since this conversation was quite long, we're going to take it into two parts. So this is the part one of the end of foreign language classes, the rise of AI translation tools. Will AI replace the need for learning new languages? So sit down comfortably, and I really hope you can have a good time listening to this amazing conversation.
I was originally trained as a translator. So my first studies, well, not actually my first studies, but my first language related studies were translation studies, Spanish, English, because I am from Argentina, so my native language is Spanish. But I started learning English when I was 5 years old, and that makes like more than 50 years of being in touch with the language. So, and I quickly found out that I loved the language and I loved languages in general. So I did go for translation studies. And then when I finished that, I had always been kind of teaching as a side job while I was studying. And I found out that I really loved teaching more than actual translation. But I still did complete my studies. And then I did a diploma in TESOL. And I decided I would, devote all my time to teaching. So I started teaching in private language institutes here in Argentina. And then in 1993, which is like 30 something years ago, I started working in schools. And actually, one of the school where I started teaching, I am still teaching there. So I've been teaching there for
No
more than 30
way.
years. Same
Wow.
school.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's like I'm part of the inventory, of the school.
Yeah.
Uh, and that is a school that has all levels. It's an official school that has kindergarten, primary and secondary level. I now teach at secondary level, but I used to teach at primary level as well. So I did primary and secondary. I used to be the language, the English, the English department coordinator. I was for many, many years. And these days, for a few years already, I have been teaching at another primary school, a bilingual school. In the secondary school, I am a language teacher, an English teacher, regular general English. In the primary school, I am a technology facilitator. I'm a digital projects facilitator for primary, and I work together with the classroom teachers. I am not a classroom teacher. So that's really, really interesting because it's a completely different
It's
job.
totally related with technology then.
it is totally related to technology, which is one of my main interests. I mean, over the years, I realized that I really like technology. I was very passionate about finding ways of using technology to enhance language learning.
Yeah.
And so most of my work has been related to that. Also, project-based learning. And well, so yeah, that's me.
That's really good. It sounds like you've been doing a lot
Then
of stuff there.
as my teaching developed, I also started, writing, sharing my experiences, and presenting at conferences where I met you many years ago.
Yeah.
And that's what I have been doing as well as teaching. I've been writing and presenting and doing teacher training. Yeah,
That's amazing. That sounds like a really cool thing to do, actually. I really admire teachers actually like you, because you've been actually going through many different parts of the language teaching and the whole career itself. That's really
yeah,
cool. Do you remember actually when we
yeah,
first met in that congress? What were exactly the
yeah.
topic? I totally forgot the topic. Do you remember anything about it? Because I remember it
Oh,
was TTT. I thought it was.
probably. Uh, No, it was, I think it was guided discovery,
Oh,
probably because I was doing the promotion for a Pearson book for which I am the
yeah.
series consultant, which is called English in Common. So I was doing like a comparison between traditional grammar presentation, PPP, and guided discovery.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I remember actually when I met you, you were
So
there
yeah.
with
It
Jack
was about how,
Richards.
how to teach language in a more inductive way. Yeah, Jack Richards was at that conference. Absolutely. Yeah, it was the first time I met
Yeah.
him too.
Oh, really? Oh. Yeah, it was first time I met
Mm,
him as well. It was a really cool time actually over there. I
yeah,
really enjoyed that congress. It
yeah,
was a 3 days congress. I remember it was in the
yeah.
Universidad
And I
Católica.
loved Quito. I mean, I had never been before, and it was,
It was
blew
only
my
one
mind.
time.
Was only one
Whoa.
time I did Quito, and I was in Guayaquil for a bit, and that was it.
That's it. Wow,
Yeah,
that's a really cool
very
thing
short
over there.
trip.
Yeah, but really good, really good. Actually, you came all the way from Argentina to Ecuador in that time. I
Yeah,
think it was really,
yeah.
really useful. It was a really cool time actually when we were in this Congress. It was a really good topics over there. All
Hmm.
the presenters there, the hosts, everything was amazing in that time. I remember. So you were telling me that you're part of the technology stuff, right? So now that
Yeah.
you're in this field, what's your personal experience with AI translations like Google Translate, email, or ChatGPT?
Um, I think what we need to understand when we talk about translation, is that, um, these models, these large LLMs, large language models like ChatGPT, for example, or Gemini, um, they they work based on the data they have been fed with. So they have been fed enormous amounts of data, and what they do is they analyze that data, and they do mathematical correlations between the words.
True,
And so what they do when they translate is they predict what fits
true.
based on the data it has. Um, I think that the human process of translation is a bit different, and because machine translation does not understand really. I mean, it does not comprehend what it is doing. It's
That's
just
pretty good.
doing it because there's an algorithm that tells them that after whatever word, there's a high probability that this word will match.
Yeah,
Um, so I think that's where the processes are so different, that in some cases it might be precise. There are many cases in which it is not as precise. And whenever there is the need for a contextual understanding of what you need to express, AI can fail more than a human translator.
That's true. That's true over there. So basically, this is not as effective as most people might believe, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, right now there's this new trend about this new DeepSeek. Have you heard about it?
Hmm. Yeah.
Do you have it already? Have you actually gone through it or something?
I'm resisting. I downloaded it, but I haven't tried it.
Got it.
The other thing that it's interesting to know about these models and these AI chatbots is that some of them, and so it's interesting to find out what each tool is really. Some of them are not web searchers. So you
Mhm.
need to understand that. So when you ask ChatGPT about something, ChatGPT does not go online as Google and searches for the information
Yeah.
in real time. What it does is it searches within the data it has been fed with,
Database. Yes, exactly.
within its database, which has a cutoff date. So you need to see what's the latest updates. I think that now ChatGPT goes to somewhere end of 2023. So it's not real time. And so it will give you the information based on what it finds within its database. And the rest, the missing, the gaps, it will fill it in with whatever it predicts should be there. And
Hmm.
sometimes those predictions are inventions. They are called hallucinations.
Yes,
Uh, so, so that's something we need to know. Like ChatGPT is not web searching like Google does. Yeah.
exactly.
There are other models like Perplexity, for example, which is actually a web searcher in real time. And what it does is it, instead of producing a list of results like Google does, for example, it will give you one condensed result that combines all the information
Of
it found.
course. Mm, understand it.
And it uses AI to read through all the information, analyze it, and combine it into one post.
Wow.
Okay. So it's totally different.
Yeah,
And so if you want to use ChatGPT as a web searcher, I think you're in for trouble
true.
because that's not the objective of ChatGPT and it is not as precise.
That's totally true,
Um,
and I agree with that. But now that we're talking about this, ChatGPT, what you're telling me, it's really mind blowing at a certain point because not everybody knows about it. Everybody
exactly.
believes that everything is a real time and
Hmm.
mostly like a god. Not right now. This is like a god for most of the people here. It's like they use it for
Yeah.
everything,
Tell me about
exactly
it.
for everything. So right now, even people here, they want to actually find a replacement for teachers. And what they're doing
Uh,
in the webs here is
the
that, okay,
question.
you don't need a teacher right now because we have ChatGPT. You pay this and you have your own coach any moment. I'm like, what? I've seen it.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it, I've heard it. What I believe is that um, some things will shift in terms of English language teaching. And what I believe is that depending on what you need the language for,
Mhm.
ChatGPT might be, or any LLM might be a good solution. So, for example, survival English.
Oh,
You want to go on holiday to an English speaking country and you don't speak English. Is it worth the time learning English to learn the basic phrases to communicate in a holiday context? Or can I just use ChatGPT to tell it what I want to say, and ChatGPT will return the English version?
Yeah.
I think in that case, human language teaching will become obsolete. It will make no sense.
Hmm. That's quite a good
But I
argument there.
do believe that we learn languages for many other reasons,
Yeah.
not just to go on holiday, not just for survival English. So
Exactly.
if you need language for your work, if you learn languages because you want to learn about culture, you're interested in the cultural aspect of certain language,
Hmm.
um, that cannot be done by ChatGPT
Of
or any
course.
other
Of
similar
course, of
tool.
course. And here's
And
something that
I
we're talking
also,
about two things there. The
yeah,
learning and the translation.
exactly. And I also think that uh, the same way as learning online is not the same as learning face to face. And I think you will agree that
$100.
even though I can see you through Zoom, teaching and learning online is not the same as being together with the person you are learning with. And I
Exactly.
think that the myriad of human interactions and decisions that happen when you are teaching, and the many contextual variations and understanding of body language and gestures, and
Yes.
knowing your students and all that. I don't think that's something AI can do yet.
Well,
Maybe
yeah,
it will
yeah, yeah.
get so
And
good that
I
it,
totally agree with
it
that
will be
one with
able to do
you.
it.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I always talk and I always tell the students here because that the trend in Asia, it goes maybe a little bit farther than what happens actually in the rest of the world in terms
Mm-hmm.
of robotics or artificial intelligence, things like that, because of the Japanese
Yeah,
technology and all that, in China as well right now. So most of the people that I've seen here, most of them still believe that learning a language is going to be pretty easy because of these tools. But the thing is that people here are most like used to be in front of a computer more than our generation.
yeah,
Our
yeah,
generation is
yeah.
totally different. We still need the human
Mm-hmm.
interaction because it's part of our life.
Yeah,
It's part of humanity. I mean, we gotta interact. We're social. We're social people. We're social
yeah,
interactors and all that.
absolutely,
So we need it.
absolutely, absolutely.
But the
Yeah,
new generation needs to be in contact with the technology 100%, almost every day. And most of them are starting to believe that this is the best way to use it in that context, to use it as a teacher. It's going to be the replacement of a teacher. And that is the point
I
now.
think it's going to be a complement. I think that we will eventually find what AI is really good at and what we teachers can use it for to reduce our workload, for example, and to complement our teaching, and to
True.
keep doing what's really human and let AI do the parts that are more automatic or uh, things like that. Um, I also think that, I mean, I'm imagining, a work scenario like you're a professional and you need English to carry out your job, and you have meetings with people who speak English, like you live in a Spanish speaking country or Chinese speaking country or Japanese speaking country, and you have meetings with people who speak English, and you need to be able to understand and produce and negotiate meaning, and a business meeting between people who speak different languages.
Yeah.
And even though AI could give you a transcription of what you're saying, I I I believe there's a leap of faith in trusting that AI is interpreting things precisely and perfectly. And And I'm sure there are some business contexts where there's very sensitive information. So would you trust that? Or would you prefer to have a human
Exactly.
understanding, because it's not just understanding of the language, it's understanding of the context, it's understanding of the knowledge area,
Exactly.
it's understanding of, so many
Is the
things.
interpretation over there, the interpretations, the everything, the
Absolutely,
cultural
absolutely. And the
nuances and everything.
interpretation that comes from the interpretation that comes from your years of experience. So I would say that an experienced engineer or an experienced lawyer or an experienced teacher or whatever profession you can think of has um, a more valid, response.
And this episode is sponsored by Pro Club Languages at MikeEnglishOnline.com, where learning has no limits. Are you ready to take your language skills, teaching career, or professional growth to the next level? Whether you're looking to master a new language, prepare for international exams, or enhance your teaching expertise, Pro Club Languages is here to help. At MyEnglishOnline.com, we offer language learning for all levels and ages: English, Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, and more. English for specific purposes: business, academic, travel, and professional communication. International exams preparation: IELTS, TOEFL, CEFR, and beyond. But that's not all. If you're an educator, trainer, or aspiring teacher, we also provide workshops and seminars on pedagogy, educational psychology, motivation, classroom strategies, and innovative teaching techniques. Teacher training programs to help you stay ahead in the ever-evolving world of education. Expert insights on language acquisition, student engagement, and modern teaching methodologies. At Broad Club Languages, we don't just teach, we empower, inspire, and transform. Whether you're a student, a teacher, or a professional, we help you unlock opportunities, confidence, and success. Visit MikeEnglishOnline.com today and start your journey toward mastery, because learning is a lifelong adventure and we're here to guide you every step of the way. Ready to level up? Click the link in the description and join Pro Club Languages today. Yes.
Than AI can give you.
Exactly. That's totally true over there. But yeah, as I told you, there's this issue with the people over here. Some of the people that I've seen, they believe that actually AI will replace a teacher, and they still actually have that kind of a mindset.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
hold on a second. I mean, what happened with the human interaction here? You're living out that part. That's
Yeah,
the
but
part that we're actually.
even if we think that AI can be a good teacher, I'm going to give you an example. Like I've been trying some prompts on ChatGPT to test its precision, because I said, okay, I need to know whether this is good enough, and
Yeah.
if I can trust it. I mean, I think my basic question is, can I trust the output that ChatGPT is giving me, or Gemini, or Copilot? I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's really all these tools that do the same thing. And for example, I asked, the first thing I did is ask it to write a short review or article about my ELT, my contribution to ELT. So it did a beautiful article writing about me and some things I'd done, and many of them were right. And suddenly it was saying that I had written certain books which I haven't written.
Mhm.
So it started hallucinating and inventing
Yeah.
stuff about me. So of course, I tried it about me because I was the only one who would know what was right and what was wrong. So that was very telling. But then again, I said, okay, so let's forget about that. Precision is not its best you know,
Yeah.
aspect. Let's forget about that. Let's do language. I mean, let's see how good it is at predicting language, a language question. So I said, okay, can you produce 3 exercises to practice the contrast between past simple and present perfect, which is something I was teaching at the time to my
Got
secondary
it.
school students. And I said, okay, this is very easy. It's going to be good, right?
It's gonna nail it.
And so it's going to nail it. And then it provided me, okay, so here are 3 exercises. You know how it
Yeah.
rephrases your prompt and tells you, okay, here are 3 exercises to practice the contrast between present perfect and simple past, to talk about experiences and whatever.
Very good
And then
paraphrasing over
the
there.
exercises, I start going through the exercises, and all the sentences in the exercises were about simple past. There was no present perfect at all.
Oh.
So it was like, oops, that was not very difficult.
That's a
And still,
bummer.
it couldn't do it. Yeah. Or I've heard, for example, in Spanish, we have accents, tildes.
Yeah.
And so, can you give me a list of words that are accentuated in the last syllable, like
Yeah.
agudas? And it gave me a list, and it was wrong. So I
No
couldn't
way.
identify that. So that's pretty basic. So I'm not saying AI, we shouldn't use AI. I'm just saying that we shouldn't trust it 100%, and that whatever we ask for it to do, we need to double check.
And that's why
And
we
the
have a
only way
job.
we can do that is if we ourselves know about it.
Yes.
So if we are a student and we don't know about it, and we are asking it to provide things for us to learn, and we cannot double check that, and we trust that the result is 100% precise, we
Exactly.
need to
And
think
that's the point.
twice.
That's a really good example over there what happened. It hasn't actually happened to me like that, but it happened to me in translations, basically. I just actually put
Yeah,
something in Chinese and it was pretty
yeah,
funny. Something I don't speak Chinese. I'm actually learning right now
yeah,
and my
yeah,
Chinese is pretty basic. And I just put something that this other person was telling me. This person was telling me something like, "Oh, I'm pretty happy that we can actually work
yeah,
together," something like it.
yeah.
But the translation was terrible. You
Well,
have no
I
idea.
don't want to know.
The translation was totally. I mean, it doesn't make sense at all. So it was like, okay,
Yeah,
she's talking about being happy because we're gonna start working together, and suddenly the
yeah,
translation tell me something that it's not even
completely
there.
different.
No,
Yeah,
it's not even
yeah,
close to the main idea. So
yeah.
when I
Well,
just
I'm
saw the
thinking
translation, it
about
was like, Jesus.
Yeah, I'm thinking about complex languages like Japanese, for example, where you have like 3 levels of kindness, of politeness to speak
Exactly.
to. Like you have a neutral version, and you have a way of talking to elders and professors and people in authority, and then a very
Exactly.
informal Japanese. And if I would tell it in Spanish what I wanted and ask it to translate into Japanese, what version of Japanese would it give me? And would it get me into trouble if I was using an informal Japanese version to
Exactly.
higher authority in Japanese? Uh, I think, I don't know how it can solve that,
That would be pretty
because
messy.
that is a very human decision, to know which one you need for each
Exactly.
situation.
And that's the situation that happened to me, but in Chinese. What a great part one with Vicky, right? So if you got any questions or you would like to know a little bit more, or you want to just give me your opinion about this one, please leave your thoughts in the comments below. And I invite you to stay tuned for the part two. It's going to be an amazing conversation as well. And as I always say, keep learning, keep motivating, and keep enjoying the great journey of learning languages.